One thing about general managers, and that pretty much goes for all of them in all of sports, there's one common personality trait they all have and what they're all trying to accomplish in that process. That is being an opportunist. But if there's one GM specifically in basketball that fits that definition of what an opportunist it is, and if you look it up, it is exploiting chances offered by median circumstances without reference to a general plan or moral principle. That general manager is Rob Pelinka. Really since getting this opportunity, because he was, for the longest time, he was an agent. He represented clients and like Kobe Bryant, like Kevin Durant, James Harden, the list goes on. With him being able to get his clients many great opportunities, he was given this opportunity to become the general manager for the Lakers a few years ago. He gets this opportunity, and well, we have seen it, how it's transpired right now for the Lakers. It has been an up and down roller coaster, yet somehow this guy still manages to pull off one of the craziest trades in NBA history, as we all know, with him acquiring Luka. But if we are being really real, this guy, he should have been fired from the Lakers a long time ago. Let's not forget, back when he was the general manager for this Lakers team in that beginning run when Magic was team president at the time, Magic Johnson was the guy who was able to recruit LeBron James. He was able to somehow convince LeBron that coming to LA would be the best decision he could make at that time for his career, business, whatever you want to call it. And really, when we look back at it, if the Lakers don't get LeBron James, then we really wouldn't even be having this conversation possibly today, and the Lakers even winning an NBA championship. As a matter of fact, Rob Pelinka may or may not even still have his job today because of that alone. Do you remember during that time, especially after Magic got LeBron, eventually Magic ended up stepping down? The main points he made, Magic, going on live television, going on ESPN and telling the entire world that he felt backstabbed by whom? Rob Pelinka.
Let me go back to the backstabbing comment, because you said that when you resigned abruptly inside the Staples Center. And you just educated us that friends you trust, that got to them outside of basketball.
Right.
So did it come down? I understand the Luke Walton element.
Yeah.
But when you allude to the backstabbing, was it Rob Pelinka that you're talking about? Is it Rob Pelinka and other people within the Lakers organization? Who exactly were you talking about?
No, just Rob.
I'm just talking about any person here. We're talking about Magic Johnson, a guy who helped the Lakers win 5 NBA championships, a guy who is still today for many considered the greatest point guard to ever play this game. And what's crazy? He even came on television saying, hey man, guys who were coming to him, close colleagues of him, saying, you gotta watch out for Rob Pelinka. You gotta watch out for this man because he's kind of sus. After that first year and that LeBron experiment with him and all those young guys, that didn't work out. But we all know at the time the Lakers were after one man and one man only, and that was Anthony Davis. And being in this opportunity that Rob Pelinka had, he was able to somehow get Anthony Davis because the Lakers managed enough to get a top 5 pick in that NBA draft, using that opportunity right there to go out and trade for Anthony Davis. And that's exactly what they did. As a matter of fact, what else did the Lakers do? They got big men. They went big because you know what? That was the formula for them over the years to win NBA championships. Back when AD was actually playing at the 4. Do that. They fire Luke Walton. They come in. They get a new head coach in Frank Vogel. And this team just changes overnight. They got key role players on their team as well. And they were able to win that bubble year NBA championship. Sadly, that next year they dealt with a lot of injuries, which definitely derailed their chances in winning an NBA championship again, going back to back. And because of that, they were eliminated in the first round by the Phoenix Suns. You recently won a championship with this core. You had key role players. You had a great team. So, logic, sense really would think in that situation, hey, let's still try to run it back with these guys at least 1 more year or so to see how it goes. But nah, being the ultimate opportunist that Rob Pelinka is, he decides into the hype, because at the time there was rumors about the Lakers possibly getting Russell Westbrook, and Rob Pelinka, as I said, being that opportunist he is, decides to trade for Westbrook. And looking back at this now, as far as the fit and everything, this was really one of the worst trades in this LeBron era of this Lakers team. In that trade, Washington Wizards, they had agreed to trade Russell Westbrook, a 2024 second-round pick, a 2028 second-round pick, to the Lakers for Kyle Kuzma, KCP, who played a key role as well in their championship run, as well as Montrezl Harrell, and the number 22 draft pick in that year's NBA draft back in 2021. Not to mention as well, they let Alex Caruso go. I believe at the time they didn't really have the money anyways to pay him because of that Westbrook contract as well. But you still let one of your key role players on that team, and Alex Caruso, walk in free agency, and he went to the Bulls. Really, looking back at this right here will definitely get any GM on the hot seat, because the Lakers finished that year 33-49, and they were just a mess. That team was not good at all. They couldn't afford any of the right pieces surrounding AD and LeBron, simply due to the fact that they had Westbrook and that terrible contract that he was on during that time of his career. And you can say, well, part of that is LeBron's fault because he wanted Westbrook there too. And yeah, LeBron definitely does play a role in that. But at the end of the day, whose decision is it to be made to do that? It's still the general manager. And you go out and you get Westbrook, and that by far was one of the worst trades to ever happen in this era. And really, for any other general manager, that would get them fired. But Rob Pelinka, no. This man still had his job intact, and he was still running the show. At this point, AD was your starting five on this team. That ain't never changed from that point on. As I said, that Westbrook experiment was an absolute disaster for the Lakers. No, they didn't do anything with him on the team. They were really worse with him. The fit just really wasn't good at all. And let's just be real, they didn't have any pieces surrounding them. The only guy who was really emerging during that time for them was Austin Reeves. And guess what? What did the Lakers decide to do? Well, they blew it up. Pelinka was under the hot seat during that time. He was definitely under it. And guess what? He decides to trade in a blockbuster move that the Lakers basically revamped their entire roster. The Lakers, in that trade, when they traded Westbrook away when he was on the Utah Jazz, when he got traded to the Jazz, they in return had got D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. Pretty solid pieces, I would say. They're also able to acquire Rui Hachimura at the time as well too. And crazy enough, these moves were able to help the Lakers somehow, someway that year make it to the Western Conference Finals. Once again, Rob Pelinka was praised and regarded as making big moves to actually help this team compete. And, he just pulls off this magic move yet again. We kind of all knew what came about of that Lakers core. They make it to the playoffs next year with that same roster pretty much intact. Added a few more pieces to that team, but yet again, they get beat by the Denver Nuggets in the first round this time. Once again, Rob Pelinka is under the hot seat because that team is really just on paper. In reality, they just were not simply good enough. When they faced up against the Denver Nuggets, if you remember, they had the lead last year several times up in that series, and they blew it each and every single time. Another example, yet again, of Rob Pelinka being an opportunist that he is. He decides to go out and he gives into that hype of hiring JJ Redick as the new head coach of the Lakers, and as well as drafting Bronny James Jr. There's no disrespect to Bronny. We all know that decision was solely made on the fact that that was LeBron's son and he wanted that on his team. Respect him for doing that, but still, we all know that Bronny really isn't fully, truly yet ready for that primetime stage. Fired Darvingham, even though that he made it to conference finals, but we all know and saw that move coming. But let's not forget either, a few years ago when they had Frank Vogel as their head coach, who won them an NBA championship, yet he was fired simply to the fact that his roster just simply wasn't good enough. It was Rob Pelinka's fault in the first place and why his team wasn't good. But fast forward that to present day time into this new NBA season, Rob Pelinka yet again, at the ring of it all, really makes a move for this Lakers team, but still no big man on the roster for Anthony Davis, who at this point has already been saying several times, hey, if we get that big man, this is going to give us a chance. And that was, of course, when they won an NBA championship, when they had those big men on the Lakers. So they go out and they get that 3-and-D player in Dorian Finney-Smith, who actually was a big addition, and they traded D'Angelo Russell because that move definitely needed to be done because D'Angelo Russell simply just wasn't the right fit for this Lakers team. Everybody at this point already kind of knows that this Lakers team, they really just weren't simply the best roster to win an NBA championship, especially in the Western Conference when you had all of the talent, all of the great teams, all the young teams as well that are on the rise. This team simply just wasn't that team that people saw as a legitimate threat. Yet, somehow the Lakers still managed to have a pretty solid season with J.J. Redick as their head coach. When you look at the player who they drafted as well, and Doc Connect, who is kind of that spark plug player who they had on this team, he definitely was a big addition in this Lakers run and their success that they were having this season alone. But we all know that Rob Pelinka, he is an opportunist. He is a guy that's going to go out and he's going to exploit any move he can possibly get to get the best player possible. And that is exactly what he did. And we all know this trade is going to be regarded as the trade probably of the century because we will not see anything like this happen maybe in a while. But he goes out, as we all know, and he gets Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis and Max Christie, who has definitely developed into a really solid player. And I believe the Utah Jazz were involved in it, but that was more for money and salary and all that stuff. But hey, the Lakers literally changed their entire trajectory overnight. Pelinka goes out and makes the biggest move, and the crazy part is he didn't even have to give up much of anything to get Luka on this team. You would think he would have had the gut this entire roster, but no, he didn't. And he goes out and he gets arguably a guy that's going to be considered one of the greatest players of all time once he finishes his career. 25 years old, already 5-time first-team All-NBA, 5-time All-Star, led the league in scoring. You name it, he's done it. And he literally led his team last year to the NBA Finals. But we all know this already about Luka, which makes this even more insane. Luka said, hey, man, I need a big man. I need somebody like my Derek Lively or that Daniel Gafford type of player that I had. So you know what Rob Pelinka did? He went out and he talked to the Hornets, and he was able to somehow get Mark Williams. If you're an NBA casual fan, of course, you don't really know who Mark Williams is, but Mark Williams has a 9'9" stand reach, and that's longer than Victor Wembanyama's. Not to mention that, but he's a serious great lob threat, great rim protector, athletic, big, that you can pair with Luka and fit on this team perfectly. The only concern is for him was just health, because he's only played in like 80-something games in 2 seasons he's been in the NBA, which is a cause for concern to have. But the idea of getting still a guy like that and hoping that he can stay healthy and pair with Luka, a guy who's averaging 16 points per game this season alone, that is just huge. Let's not forget, you still have LeBron James on this team. Now look, you can say, hey, Rob Pelinka is definitely a wild card, but of course that Mavs owner, he's in another category of what he decided to do. But the Lakers now set themselves up in the position to still compete and still possibly be one of the best teams in the league for the foreseeable future if Luka decides to stay with the Lakers. Trade undoubtedly makes Rob Pelinka the ultimate opportunist because he somehow managed to just pull off the impossible. People would have already thought this man could have already been fired for some of the moves, the ups and downs that the Lakers team has had ever since they won their NBA championship. It doesn't help either that this franchise, despite their success as a team, they are still not really stable at this point in time. The fact still that Rob was able to just pull this off is insane. And now some people may see him in a different light despite some of the moves that this guy has made over the years. It's just absolutely insane. And it's going to be interesting to see, once LeBron departs and, Luka is fully then in the reins of this Lakers team, how will he operate things? What kind of moves will he make then? Will he mess this up? Who knows? But he was able to somehow get this generation's possible best player. So we shall see how this goes, man. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video today, man. I just kind of wanted to bring a different perspective because it's just crazy, because we've seen Rob Pelinka make some crazy moves, some crazy deals for this Lakers team, but nothing really tops this. And we shall just see how it turns out. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more basketball content each and every single week. Have a great day. Peace.